Christian. I can't hold it anymore. I don't want to yell. I don't want to scream first thing in this video because what the fuck, Chris Chan? Out of anybody that, oh my God. Seriously, what the fuck, Chris Chan? Oh my God. So yeah, I was planning this week. And I think people all want to know what my thoughts were. What my thoughts were given what had happened with Chris. And I know I haven't did a Chris Chan video in 3 years. And I as I predicted, like everybody who had been following Chris in recent years, that eventually he was going to do something really horrible before his 40th birthday next year in 2022, which is 5 months from now. And I heard what happened. That's why you can tell the sheer silence in the beginning of the video. Because I was just, why would Chris Chan do his mom like that? And knowing his mom has dementia and she had no consent. And you know, here's my further thoughts on Chris Chan. While I talk about some little bits of tidbits, I'm not going to go in full detail about, you know, what he had did with the leaked phone call and him going to jail for the crime of incest, because it's against the law in Virginia to commit incest. But I think that should be also a law in all states of the United States of America about committing incest. This is one of the darkest and hardest to talk about videos I ever done. In my 9 years I've been on this YouTube channel, 10 years in general on the platform, that I would actually talk about this a little bit. So, during my summer hiatus in July and August, I heard what Chris Chan had done leading up to this point. And when I was on YouTube watching videos, I wasn't making videos during the summer. When I was scrolling through YouTube on my, phone, and when I was watching videos about other YouTube channels and, channels I watch videos from, but then when I saw some thumbnails with Chris Chan's face on it, and then it had some captions, then it had something about and then trending on Twitter about Chris. And the mainstream media is now picking up on Chris. I had no idea that we were going to come to this, folks. That Chris Chan, out of all the crimes Chris had done over the last decade after being a target of all that excessive internet trolling, and it's been 10 years since his father passed away of a heart attack, but we would ever really see Chris go this far down the rabbit hole. And it's like, we all thought the Chris Chan saga was a laughing matter. But given this turn of events recently, never thought it would boil down to this. So, Chris Chan committed incest with his mom, who is ridden with dementia. He had a protection order filed against him to stay away from his mother, but he violated that. And so therefore, the police in Virginia had finally caught Chris, and he's in jail. And of course, at the time I'm recording this vlog, Chris Chan will be, his court hearing will be this Thursday, the 16th. And never really thought my video is so close to the days of his court hearing. If he ever does go to jail and pled guilty for that crime, I know that I'm one of those people who probably want to see this guy put in a mental institution. Because as part of my further thoughts on Chris Chan after my, video rant on him from Christmas of 3 years ago was one of my most popular videos I ever did in 2018 before that year was up and we were entering 2019. I just thought about all most of the stuff I had talked about a little bit about Chris Chan, where I just thought about all of the stuff that Chris had been doing since his 20s. And now Chris is almost 40. 5 months down the line coming up. And I just don't understand, why would Chris, all the years he would always use autism as a crutch for everything, for all his misfortunes and mistakes, blames the trolls on the internet, blames, I'm just like, man. And then I'm personally one of these people who don't believe that Chris is what Chris thinks he is. Because I know that for a fact that I've heard that on a live stream that the reason Chris is doing this transgender act was hoping to get laid with women, let alone lesbian women. And do you realize, Chris, if you're out there, no, better yet, the whole public, for those who don't realize what Chris has been doing with this gimmick, doesn't Chris Chan realize he's not really, and I mean a he, because Chris had admitted he was doing this transgender stuff hoping to get laid. But you don't do your own flesh and blood. You don't do your own flesh and blood and then bang the crap out of her. You should have never do that. And because of all of the years of doing those attraction signs, looking for a boyfriend-free girl, And, you know, well, as he calls it, a single woman who don't have a boyfriend. But do you think women want anything to do with him? Seriously. Because there is no way in hell. As I theorized that Chris was going to do something really horrible. If something bad came to line, if before and after Barbara Chandler, his mother, would to pass away, or I don't know, get to a certain point in her life. Because Chris is almost 40 years old, mind you folks, and 2 decades of dealing with internet trolls, putting up attraction signs, looking for a girlfriend. Well, it was really more like stalking and trying to do, I hate to say that R word, rape women. And Sonichu, I mean, seriously. And then also, you know, all the other stupid things he has done, which I have talked about before. Sonichu, the love, you know, a little bit of the love quest here and there. His pursuit of wanting a girlfriend. But it's just, it fails because Chris had never amounted to anything. He is a low value person. I wouldn't call him an autistic low value person because that doesn't gel together. It doesn't mesh. And, you know, and I have said before in my rant about him, he has given people with autism, like myself, a bad name. Now, given all of the stuff Chris had done over the last decade after his father died, I wouldn't do twice the stupid shit he used to do, you know, he would do, or used to do. Because it just gives the notion to society that make society think us autistic people are just like Chris Chan. And I feel so ashamed to being born with a disability or other mental disorders like autism. Because it gives a notion that people with autism should be just like Chris Chan. Fucked up and just like, you know, I'm telling you. And then given his past with, you know, being a homophobe and realizing not only he gives people with autism and other special needs problems a bad name, he also gives people of the LGBTQ community a bad name. And I mean, I hate to say it, folks, because, you know, Chris can believe what he believes, but he's delusional. He is delusional. He believes, even recently, I know I don't want to talk about this dimensional merge stuff, but he believes this dimensional merge stuff exists. Existing, you know, believing all of the cartoon characters in all of those fictional worlds, like, you know, the characters from Family Guy, characters from The Simpsons, characters from South Park and stuff, were to collide in the same world. I'm sorry, but South Park already beat you to it with Imagination Land, Chris. But I don't see how you believe that stuff, a dimensional merge. There's no such thing as a dimensional merge. It's just one of the most mundane, asinine thing to even think even exists. It only probably exists in your mind. Same go for, you know, him believing he's a goddess. That's why he adopted the Christine Weston Chandler persona. But he is even also, like, he believes Sonichu exists, and he believes he's a Sonichu. And I have seen some videos where Chris had also did some videos where he believes that a Sonichu or Rosichu is right aside him. That does not compute, people. That does not compute. That is just a sign of, although I'm not I know I'm not a psychologist or anything, but from what I can tell, The guy is a schizophrenic. Chris is a schizophrenic. And I'm one of the few people who even realize that Chris is more than just an autistic person, given all the stupid, messed up, fucked up things he's done. I think Chris is a sufferer of schizophrenia, believing Sonichu would be right by him, or Magi-chan, or, you know, all these other fictional characters around him. I feel like they need to, you know, when they do have his court date this Thursday, at the time I'm recording this, I think if we hear any updates about Chris going to either prison or an institution, my dollar would be on mental institution. Because Chris has already been a morbidly fucked up individual on the internet. And as someone who had started discovering some stuff about Chris Chan in 2017, which coincidentally is the 10th anniversary, which was coincidentally the 10th anniversary year since he even started YouTube. But Chris had been doing stuff long before YouTube. Like if you date back to after he was done with high school in 2000, and then started college and only had one little brief stint working at a Wendy's between 2000 or 2001, either one. And then doing the attraction sign thing, going to his mall, his local mall, the game place and stuff, and then of course college, and looking for a boyfriend-free girl, and there's just like, oh my God, he has done like so much shit. It's not funny. I mean, it was funny in the past, but given what has transpired again, none of this shit is funny. I mean, I still perceive Chris as a homophobe, a racist, and there's one other word that a lot of people don't describe Chris when it came to his viewpoints with women. And a part that I forgot to mention in my 2018 rant on Chris, when I first started talking about him. He is a misogynist. And I just thought about him talking about looking for a girlfriend to be his sweetheart from the ground up. And just thinking about all of the specifics that he used to do. But now that Chris is almost 40, Chris should have thought about not doing Sonichu for so long. And this is coming from someone who has been, all his life had been obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog and Pokemon. Mainly Sonic. Because stuff like that with Sonichu makes me not want to be a Sonic the Hedgehog fan anymore. I don't even hardly talk about Sonic all that much. Although, yeah, given I'm wearing a blue colored t-shirt, even though blue would represent autism, but this is not Autism Awareness Month, aka April. This is September now. But I just feel like when, I just thought about this when it came to Sonichu. When I said back in my rant about him in 2018 that if Sonichu was just an OC that Chris created, that's what he should have stuck with. Instead of doing the Sonichu series. And if Chris would just, I think there's some other things that could have happened if Chris was to continue the Sonichu stuff. I know that for a fact, that, and everyone knows that if, him dealing with trolls and other outside sources in life, he could have still done the comics. Sonichu could have ended sometime in 2016 for all I know, and he could have just moved on to something else. Because you're not going to live forever doing Sonichu. And now that Chris is in jail, he can't do Sonichu comics, right? And also, he had paid donations, from what I heard, according from when I was watching videos from Gibby. Seeing the telemarkers and stuff in the opening of every single Chris Chan weekly update video he did about like the whole, it has been some number of X number of days since Chris last begged for money, insert number of days Chris last reached about his donations for wait a minute, for in terms of, you know, putting out new you know, pages for Sonichu, and of course, you know, the number of days since Chris last applied for a job thing. And you know, Chris rather spent more time doing stupid, lazy, belligerent stuff instead of doing his own fucking comic. And knowing Chris is like almost 40 years old, and the Sonichu comics, and given the art form of the comic, Chris should have just evolved his drawing stances, but no. Even when Chris was still at home living with his dementia-ridden mother, was still drawing the comics still like a child as a 30-something grown-ass man-child. Because Sonichu should have never even also be more about Chris's own messed up, tormented life. Because he inflicted that stuff upon himself. And I just personally think that he should have just not put so much personal details about himself for the world to know, and given his personal dislikes for everyone to make fun of and then also be disgusted with at the same time. Because we knew that Chris was so fucked up. And I did my research. I watched a bunch of videos about him, even when I'm not doing my thing and stuff. But you know, this kind of stuff makes me wish that I'm glad I didn't start entering adulthood doing twice the stupid shit he did, putting up attraction signs and didn't the motherfucker realize that, well, yeah, online dating sites were barely a thing yet. Well, Match.com started to exist since 2004. And why couldn't Chris decide at Match.com or eHarmony and choose dumb sites? But, you know, when women found out about his Sonichu and all his childish things that he likes as a grown-ass man, that's why women are not going to take him seriously. That's why a lot of, you know, even though there's a good reason we need to keep women away from Chris. Because even what he had done out of incest with his mom, that is just so ridiculous that he went and put his pickle in his dementia-ridden 79, 80-some-year-old mom. I thought she was like close to being 90 or something. But, and also you don't want to fuck no old lady, especially like an old lady around age 70 and over, because no, that's disgusting. Why couldn't Chris get a woman his own, you know, well, if he's, you know, why couldn't he get a woman his own age? Why do you have to go, you know, well, because, you know, given that most of us had been, during most of 2020, we're always at home because, again, COVID, and we're still in this, and the Delta variant, that COVID, we all had to stay home, and Chris had to be trapped at home with his mom. And he was making all kind, I mean, Chris, during last year, up until this point, until he finally got caught empty-handed and with the leaked phone call by this young 20-something woman by the name of Isabella Janke. And basically, I don't know why on earth did Chris even thought about having thoughts of doing incest. Since when did he even started developing feelings of incest for his mom? Sexual relations. That is just so fucking wrong. For him to fucking pull that shit off and go fuck his mom. And when I heard that stuff, I screamed. I was angry. And I was disgusted. I figured that eventually before Chris turns the big 4-0 in 2022, February 24th, Chris was going to do something really fucking bad. That he was going to do that. He was going to do something really disgusting. Knowing he was always with his mom. And Chris, basically, if he has money, why couldn't he just take that money, instead of spending on fucking video games and children's toys, like My Little Pony shit and whatever, why won't Chris take that money and put Barbara in a retirement home? And Chris would find somewhere else to live. And also, when there was that house fire, back in 2014, I heard some people said that when they had that house fire back 7 years ago, they should have condemned that house. They should have condemned it. But instead, they decided to still live in that house. That just goes to show how really whack both Chris and his mom really are. Because it's like they don't want to leave a part of their messed up, sick in the head, sick fuck family's namesake on that house. And I don't know who's to blame here, because like, knowing the fact Chris should have never even like do videos in that house and still living with his mom, still with a bunch of, and personally, I don't know why, Chris, when I should have talked more about his transgenderism. Now I know I'm going to get attacked for this a bit, but for someone, I feel like, I wish I should have said this back in 2018, but I think this, lesbian identified transgender gimmick, this is like the kind of stuff Eric Cartman would have done on an episode of Modern South Park. Because like, how can you possibly be a transgender if you still look the same? But except the difference is you're wearing women's bras, women's dresses, and other sorts of clothing that women wear, like women's shirts, women's pants, and sweatpants and all that. And then your hair is all grossly, like, outgrown, looking all nasty, like, I don't know, because it's just disgusting. It's really disgusting. And you can't possibly be transgender. And you don't even have actual female breasts. You just have estrogen. And this is the cold truth about this. All it is just a bunch of estrogen build up in your chest. That comes from also not getting your proper exercise. Instead, you'd rather, sit around at home, play video games, and then fuck with people on the internet, and then dealing with trolls, and then trolls be fucking with you. And then tweeting random shit about dimensional merge like a crazy person. And then tweeting about, and then also petitioning about Hasbro. Now, again, given that I am a Hasbro person, and given I'm a fan of Transformers and G.I. Joe and, of course, Power Rangers, even though I've been a Power Rangers fan all my life. But when it came to Chris and Hasbro, when it comes to his hatred for Hasbro moving on from the last generation of My Little Pony to the current generation, why won't Chris accept My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is long and done and over with? Because that iteration of MLP ended in 2019. Because, let's face it, each generation of Hasbro's properties like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony, they only last a certain amount of years. But Friendship is Magic lasted a whole decade, which started that legion of male MLP fans, aka bronies. But he calls himself a Pegasister. How can you be a Pegasister or whatever? And also, I'm not a My Little Pony person, so But how can you possibly be a pegasister, but you're just basically a guy just dressed up in women's clothing thinking you can still try to get on with a lesbian woman? How can you possibly still get with that? How? There is no way you can do that. And also, here's another thing. And given to the fact that I'm a person who has friends of the LGBT on social media, even they would probably be disgusted to the fact that Chris is only doing this just hoping, should wake up and realize that Chris was just doing this hoping to get pussy from a lesbian woman. But when real lesbian women, I repeat, real lesbian women find out that this person dressed in women's clothing has a dick, they're going to be like, no, this is a guy trying to pretend to be a female. It's insulting. And it's just, again, a sign that Chris had been intending this. Because Chris had always had intentions of wanting to have sex with women before getting to know them. And you know how Chris was in the past, right? When he was always, talking about when he ever does approach a woman, all he ever think about is wanting to have sex with them, rubbing his penis in between a woman's legs and vagina. But that's like considered, statutory rape. And you can't do that. And that's also sexual harassment. You can't do that, Chris. You just can't do that because, when Chris was still normal and when he was still normally dressed in men's clothing while still going around wearing that stupid ass sonotube medallion everywhere. And even now with the Christine gimmick in Persona, still going around wearing that stupid ass sonotube medallion around his neck. Their neck. You just don't realize. You think, I think a lot, and also I know I should have picked up on this years ago about this. Like, whenever you see Chris Chan with that medallion around his neck, he believes, and this is one of the few delusional beliefs, that medallion gives you special powers. Like, what kind of special powers? It's just something you just made out of freaking clay and man, I've realized how messed up Chris Chan really is as a person. And, he should have never fucking do all that heinous stuff. And I feel like 3 strikes was it for him. That Chris, after running over Michael Snyder 10 years ago, the GameStop employee incident thing over Sonic Boom, and now this. And then plus the too many games thing. So that's actually 3.5-ish. But this was the biggest blow of all the crimes Chris Chan had committed. And the thing Chris Chan is this innocent, autistic man-child that can do no wrong. No, you can clearly tell he has done completely wrong. Because he thinks he's this, and he believes he's that, and he believes that he can get away with anything. But now that Barbara is on the verge of her demise in a few years, and I don't want to wish death on her and all that, it's just when, how it is with people who had, family members who had dementia, mainly elderly parents. And I feel sorry for those who lost some family members, like grandparents, of that disease. And I've known some older celebrities who had recently died of dementia, like David Cassidy and what was her name? And it sucks. And Chris thinks he could get away with it, you know, realizing that now that Barbara can't consent to anything, she ain't going to get, you know, bail Chris out this time out of jail for you know, this time for good. Because, you know, even when he had that damn fucking one person protest about Sonic Boom, all because Sonic had freaking blue arms and not the you know, well, again, I'm not, you know, but the tan arms. You know, he should have been in jail for that. Even for the too many games thing, when he went around sexually harassing so many people at the convention, he should have went to jail for that. When he ran over Michael Snyder in front of the game place back in 2011 after losing his dad, he should have went to jail for that. When he solicited all of those crudely drawn and written attraction signs to try to get a girlfriend, he should have went to jail for that. But that's sick that Chris had done all of this stuff over the years. But truth be told, though, if Chris Chan ever does get pled guilty, I don't even think prison will do him good. It's best to put him in a mental institution for the rest of his life. Because he can keep on ranting and rambling about a dimensional merge like a fucking crazy person. Or believing he's a Sonichu, or believing he's a goddess, or believing whatever. Because it's like, I'm at the point where I'm just fucking fed up with his crap. I really am. I know a lot of you are as well, because I feel like at this point it is the end of his story and chronicles on the internet. Because if he does get pled guilty, truth be told, that this is it for a while. Because I don't think Chris will ever be coming back out into public and then keep spending more money on My Little Pony and other children's toys and video games and you know how healthy that you know how unhealthy Chris has gotten over the years as well. You know, and for someone who eats fast food all the time, that is also unhealthy. I mean, people like me, I eat fast food every once in a while, like every 3 weeks. Most times I eat fixed stuff here at home. I cook. Yes, I can cook. I also do some frozen dinners, and I also can, you know, and I like, again, every 3 weeks I do fast food, like Pizza Hut or something, or Burger King. But this motherfucker, when it comes to him eating food, it's always fast food like McDonald's. And you know, here's the thing. You can't eat fast food all the time. Because why do you think you have people who have problems with their health and their weight and stuff? And then you hear these people are suffering from cholesterol issues, diabetes, and then some end up dying of a heart stroke because of all that fast food grease and all of that in their systems. And Chris Chan is almost 40 years old, and for someone of his upcoming middle-aged age, you can't be eating all that McDonald's and stuff all the time, because you can't be eating fast food all the time like that. I mean, that's probably why you already can't even do no exercise or lifting weights and all that and all that shit, because Chris ain't really that healthy. He still got that big gut from eating all that junk food, fast food, and you know all that other processed sugary stuff. And also, you know, there was like so much other shit I could have caught up on back in my last rant about him 3 years ago, but I feel like I'm just sick. I'm real sick with this stuff with Chris, because When I heard about I know I've been talking about other miscellaneous peripheral stuff about Chris, but I really should have talked more about his recent crime. But I think I can say what I can say, but I'm just disgusted by the fact that we're talking about the same Chris Chan who took two iconic video game icons and then merged the two and think it's his own. Like as if Chris owns Sonic and Pokemon, when knowing Sega and Nintendo does. And Sonichu would have been fine as just a piece of fan art if DeviantArt came out at an earlier point of the internet's time in the early 2000s. But Chris really should have never made Sonichu and try to make it into a franchise. And I said this before in passing. And he could have done something more original. And you can't possibly make Sonichu real and you're not a Sonichu. And I also hate how he always, because despite he was always bullied and trolled in his life, he would always, villainize the people that, that he came across in his earlier point in life, like Mary Lee Walsh and Megan, Michael Schneider and them, and then the trolls that he never met in person, but only knew of them by their avatars and profiles, and think that Blue Spike and Clyde Cash and them are actually, like, real, but they were just online personas just fucking with Chris. And Chris had always had a hard time, also separating reality with fantasy, which was another glaring issue with Chris for the last 20 or more years. Because he's gotten this, Chris had also had this notion of these delusions. But if he ever does get sentenced to be committed into a mental asylum for his incest crimes and stuff, I hope whatever psychological, psychiatric institution takes Chris, they need to check into his brain and his psyche about the Sonichu stuff, and then, his history with internet trolls, because the mainstream media is already picking up on what he has done. And when he does goes to a prison or institution, they should still consider him a male, because, I should have also said more about his transgenderism, that if he really wanted to be a transgender woman, you should have gotten to an ER. Why couldn't he took his money and go to an actual ER, a nearby hospital in Virginia, and do a sex change operation and turn your penis inside out and have that become a vagina and all the other procedures to make a real transgender woman. But the way how Chris believes of how he became a transgender is through listening to some subliminal beats that will make his man boobs like actual female boobs and stuff, and his penis actually transformed into a vagina of its own. That does not fucking work. That does not fucking work. And I just don't get it, folks. Of all of the stuff he's done, I'm just so sick. And basically, I feel like now that I've been on here long enough, I just had to bring this up, and I'm just disgusted by the incest thing. I think Chris is a rapist. I think he is a predator. Because he did his mom dirty. And he should have never done that. I mean, that is disgusting. It's not normal. It's not fucking normal to fuck your own mother. It's not normal. So when he does when his court trial comes up this Thursday, I hope they put this sick fuck in an institution. Because I don't think prison is going to do him any good. It's not going to do him any good. It ain't. So anyway, guys, I wish I could say more about Chris Chan, but, or if I even want to do a video about Isabella Janke, but I'm scared to even do a video on her. And so, that's it. Sauna chew my ass.